Everyone assumes an infant bonds with whoever feeds it. Food means survival. Survival means attachment, that's the logic, but that's not what happened. In 1958, Harry Harlow gave newborn rhesus monkeys a choice: a wire mother that dispensed milk, or a cloth mother that dispensed nothing. They chose nothing, almost every time. For 99.9% of human history, that choice didn't exist. There was no wire mother, no bottle propped against a pillow, no crib in another room. There was skin. Constant, unbroken, carried on the body skin, from birth until you could walk. That was the default for our species. So what happens when that default disappears? When comfort and food get separated, not for monkeys, for people. This is about an experiment that ended a 1950s assumption. About a study that mapped how love gets coded into the body. And about a feeling some of you know too well, the sense of going numb exactly when someone offers you warmth. Harry Harlow ran his lab at the University of Wisconsin. The setup was simple. Newborn rhesus monkeys separated from their mothers within hours of birth, each one placed in a cage with two surrogate mothers, one made of bare wire, one made of wire too but wrapped in soft cloth. Only the wire mother had a bottle attached, only she could feed them. By the old logic, that should have settled it. The monkey that feeds you is the monkey you bond to. Here's what Harlow found instead. The infants fed from the wire mother when they were hungry. Then they left immediately and climbed onto the cloth mother and stayed there. Researchers tracked the hours. Some infants spent over 17 hours a day clinging to the cloth surrogate, less than 2 on the one that fed them. Not a single infant showed a preference for the wire mother, not one, even when it was the only source of food in the cage. When researchers introduced something frightening, a mechanical toy, a sudden noise, the infants didn't run to the food. They ran to the cloth, they pressed against it, clung to it, as if it could protect them. It couldn't. It was wire and terracloth. It had no face, it never moved, it gave nothing back. And still, that's where they went. Harlow published this in 1958 in a paper called The Nature of Love. It landed in the middle of a field that believed love was just reinforcement, a side effect of feeding, warmth, dryness, reduced hunger. Harlow's data didn't fit that model. Something else was being measured. Something the infants needed that had nothing to do with milk. He called it contact comfort. The need to be held, not fed, held, and it turned out that need outranked hunger. Outranked safety, even monkeys would cling to cloth instead of running from danger. That was section 1. A monkey, alone in a cage, choosing nothing over something simply because the nothing was soft. But Harlow's experiments didn't stop there. So here's the question that follows naturally. If contact comfort matters that much, what happens when even that goes cold? Harlow ran a second set of experiments. Some surrogate mothers were rigged to reject the infant, to blast cold air, to shake violently, to eject metal spikes. Researchers called one version the Iron Maiden. And here's the part nobody talks about. The infants didn't leave. They waited for the rejection to stop, then climbed back on, again and again. The attachment wasn't about kindness. It was about availability. The monkey didn't need the mother to be good, just to be there. Around the same time, a developmental psychologist named Mary Ainsworth was asking a parallel question, but in human infants. In the early 1970s, working out of Johns Hopkins, Ainsworth designed a study called The Strange Situation. A baby and its mother in an unfamiliar room. A stranger enters. The mother leaves, then returns. Researchers watched what happened in each of those moments. Most infants reacted the way you'd expect. Distress when the mother left. Relief, reaching, crying when she came back. Ainsworth called this secure attachment. But a smaller group of infants did something different. When the mother left, they barely reacted. When she came back, they ignored her. Some turned away completely. On the surface, these infants looked calm, independent, even like the separation didn't matter. But Ainsworth's team wasn't just watching behavior. They were measuring heart rate, cortisol levels, stress hormones, and the data didn't match the faces. The infants who looked the calmest had some of the highest stress responses in the entire study. Their bodies were in full alarm, their faces showed nothing. Researchers later named this pattern avoidant attachment. Estimates from later studies put it at roughly 1 in 5 infants. Not broken, not unaffected, just not showing it, because somewhere early showing it hadn't worked. Crying hadn't brought anyone back faster. Reaching hadn't gotten a response, so the system adapted. So what actually causes that shift? Not one bad moment, a pattern, repeated early before language even forms. A baby cries, sometimes someone comes, sometimes no one does, or someone comes but distracted, flat, somewhere else. The baby learns before it can think what to expect from a need. And here's where it gets historical. In the early 20th century, a psychologist named John B. Watson published parenting advice that shaped a generation. Don't kiss your children, don't let them sit on your lap, feed on a schedule, not on demand. Too much affection, he warned, would make children weak. Millions of parents read this. Many followed it, not out of cruelty, out of trying to do it right. The result, decades later, was generations of children raised on a model where need and response were deliberately disconnected. And that pattern doesn't end when the generation does. It gets passed down not through instruction but through example. A parent who was never soothed often doesn't know how to soothe, not because they don't care, because no one showed them what that even looks like. Here's a small detour. The word comfort comes from the Latin confortere, con meaning with and fortis meaning strength. To comfort originally didn't mean to soften something, it meant to strengthen someone together with another person present. Comfort was never about removing pain, it was about not facing it alone. Researchers studying this over time, including a long-running study out of the University of Minnesota that followed children for decades, found something consistent. Early patterns of attachment didn't just fade with age. They showed up again in adult relationships, in how people responded to closeness, conflict, comfort. People who'd learned as infants that needs go unanswered often grew into adults who stopped registering the need at all, not because the need was gone, because noticing it used to lead nowhere, so the noticing turned off. That's not a flaw, that's a system doing exactly what it was built to do. Conserve energy, avoid disappointment, stay functional, even if functional felt like nothing at all. So go back to the monkeys for a second, the ones who chose the cloth mother that gave nothing back. What if that's not a story about monkeys or even infants? What if it's a story about what the body learns to call safe, not what feels good, what's familiar? A monkey raised with a cold, unresponsive surrogate doesn't grow up seeking warmth. It grows up recognizing coldness as home, reaching for it, even when something warmer is right there in the room. Adults do this too, not on purpose, not even consciously. Someone offers real care, consistent, warm, asking nothing in return, and something in the chest just doesn't respond, no relief, no relaxing, sometimes almost suspicion, like waiting for the catch. Because the nervous system was calibrated somewhere else. Calibrated to flat, to inconsistent, to earn it first. So when something arrives that doesn't need to be earned, it doesn't register as comfort, it registers as unfamiliar. And unfamiliar to a nervous system can feel a lot like nothing, not peace, just absence, a kind of static where a feeling should be. That's not coldness, that's not being broken. That's a wire mother that someone somewhere mistook for safe, and a body still choosing the cloth, still choosing the nothing, almost every time.